Hello and welcome back to the Beefy Tech channel. What you're witnessing is a 7900 XTX and 7950 X3D on Vondel with really solid FPS even on a rooftop. Not only are the 1% lows significantly better than usual, but everything is just significantly better because resizable bar / smart access memory is disabled within the adrenaline menu for this rig currently. And that is how I was able to achieve the FPS that you're currently seeing. I do have to mention, this only works for Vondel, so if you do try use this for anything else, you'll notice some weird results, which we'll go over in a second. I do want to mention, this is where you disable smart access memory for AMD GPUs if you do want to do so, but for Nvidia, you either do it in the BIOS or within the config file of Warzone. Starting off with the 4090 in Mazra, you may notice that resizable bar on versus resizable bar off is pretty much identical in performance, and that is no surprise really. What is a surprise is that the GPU usage is completely different. 80% on the left hand side with resizable bar on, and over 94% with resizable bar off, showing that indeed the GPU performance is being hit, but because we're CPU bound in both scenarios, the FPS is identical, which is mighty interesting. If we move on to the 7900 XTX on Mazra, you will see the picture become a lot clearer. Essentially, we're getting way more FPS than with SAM disabled on Mazra, specifically because with SAM disabled, the GPU performs far worse and we become GPU bound rather than CPU bound. Meanwhile, in the situation with smart access memory on, it allows the CPU to perform significantly better and the GPU to perform significantly better, therefore achieving more FPS instead of just being capped by the GPU with SAM disabled. This does show the 7900 XTX is indeed a slower GPU for Mazra overall. Let's jump back to the 4090 for a second and take a look at Ashika performance and see what's happening. Ashika is a far less CPU bound map, and as you may notice, it is actually taking a toll on the performance of the 4090 as a result, and resizable bar is yet again better to be left on than off as a result of that CPU bound aspect disappearing which was present in Mazra. And that's why it didn't make a difference in Mazra, but it makes a difference for Ashika, albeit not a big difference at all, compared to the 7900 XTX, which if you haven't noticed already, is suffering greatly with smart access memory off. While the 4090 has enough raw grunt to be able to punch through the fact it doesn't have resize bar turned on, it seems that the 7900 XTX is not capable of achieving the same feat and is far more dependent of smart access memory being on for it to work at its maximum potential. Otherwise, you're unironically losing over 20% performance from it. Now you might be asking, where are those amazing gains that you were showing us at the start of the video? And before I show them to you, let's check Vondel on the 4090. You may notice it does yet again not look any better with resizable bar turned off, but there is a slight catch, and we'll go over it in a split second. You may notice that the average FPS and the 1% lows looking on 3 of the sides on the left side are higher than with rebar off, but if we look at the results of just looking straight forward, you may notice that in the lowest FPS we get, it is actually better with resizable bar turned off, meaning that yes, on Vondel specifically, resizable bar turned off will help with the dips that you may see on roofs or with 1% lows. And for the 7900 XTX users, your moment has come, because smart access memory being disabled is unironically significantly better in both averages and 1% lows over having SAM turned on for Vondel specifically. If we take a look at the lowest FPS place, which is just looking straight forward in this area, it is an absolutely massive gain from the 219 frame rate going up to 267. Not only that, the 1% lows are stupendously higher, reaching nearly 50 FPS more. This goes to show that smart access memory on is absolutely incredible for Vondel if you're on a 7900 XTX and 7950 X3D. And what's interesting is that you don't even need to look at the lowest FPS spot like the 4090 to be able to see the gains. You can look anywhere and the FPS is outright better in the 1% low and probably identical or better in the averages. The only downside remains that this is the only map and situation where smart access memory off is significantly better. If you're on a 7900 XTX, you would basically have to re-enable smart access memory every time you switch maps out of Vondel if you wanted to use this to gain FPS in Vondel. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to consider liking and subscribing. I offer optimization services and I also post quite regularly on YouTube, so if you want to keep up with me, you know where to find me. Have a good one and enjoy.